Hi, peoples. So, sorry for the weird camera work right there, but it's time for some real talk. And earlier, I just pulled that deck out and pulled those cards, and this is what was on the bottom was the Six of Fire, but it was in the reversed position. So, I'm gonna read about that because it's actually interesting because it has to do a whole lot with a video that I have been wanting to make concerning my situation. I feel that it's really important to make these videos and tell my story as it relates to illegal activity and legal infractions and matters of abuse, on and on. So these cards are by Nina Jabradice Tarot. And the Six of Fire, and she doesn't even have reverse meanings. So in this situation, some like a deck seem to do it different, but in this situation, I'm going to reverse the meaning and make it exactly the opposite. It's so weird. Some decks, they're like, have it in the reverse, but they like sort of switch the meaning where it's like, I don't know, like more of a positive sort of a thing, like everything is or something. But this, after I look at these cards, I'm going to talk a bit about family narcissistic dynamics, family narcissism, and how it's affected me in my life, and what it's like to go through it as basically the black sheep scapegoat person. So typically like a really pretty card is like somebody, there's like people's up in the balcony, but the way they're floating, it almost looks like ancestors or something. So the sixes of the minor arcana are not only signify, sorry, I'm being hit. Somebody doesn't like the message I'm giving. More clues to the whole thing. Which I already know, and it's really sad that I know and have known who is behind some of this stuff. It's a big connected deal, and it's really messed up when a whole bunch of people work to come against an individual. Anyways, so the divinatory meanings are successes at hand. So in my situation, it's basically success that has been taken. What should have been successes having been destroyed, thwarted, stolen, perhaps sometimes a little bit. It's all really subtle when it comes to narcissism, and talk more about that. But recognition for one's progress. Basically, in the reverse would mean not getting the recognition that you deserved for progress or accomplishments. And this all relates to my case and the stuff I've been going through and have been going through for years. Enjoying a well-deserved boost to self-esteem. Sadly, I was actually the subject of family dinners, but not ever in a good way. When my dad would call his relatives my relatives, he would gossip about me and he would talk about things that weren't true. Like he would try to make me out to be some big junkie, when in fact the whole truth of it all is my dad has done way more drugs in his lifetime than I have. But it's okay that he had these horrible days that he put me through as a small child, because he got saved and became a preacher just to continue being abusive. I'm not trying to be dishonoring. Like, in fact, I was taught to honor him so much that I have allowed myself to be abused, and I didn't even realize so much of what was going on, and that I was actually a victim and have been a victim of abuse my whole life until things got really horrible and life-threatening, and I was quite literally almost killed. And basically the responses ever since, as my life has been put in danger, is just more and more validation as to the mental, verbal, and emotional abuse that I have endured from my family. Pretty much all of them, but some of the members more than others. So, I always call my mom the enabler of the bunch, and she is really sweet, and she herself is a doormat, and she gets walked over. But in my case, she's actually participated in abuse in the form of gaslighting, in a very bad way. But yeah, no, like the only times I've barely ever tried drugs for like the smallest amount of time was like after 10 years of medical neglect, after my daughter had already gotten in trouble and basically put herself in kiddie prison. And, my dad shoved me out of the worship team of the church and out of my worship ministry for no reason at all. It's power struggles between male and female, sort of a thing. And of course, you gotta lie and make up rumors about somebody and gossip about somebody when you do something like that. And the congregation that was being ministered to and through music is kind of wondering, well, what happened to her? It was pretty obvious her heart was in it, and like we were actually being touched by her singing. And so, gotta make up some lies and rumors, right, Dad? We don't gossip. We just, pray things that aren't true on Tuesday night prayer night, right, Dad? Anyways, I'm not trying to be dishonoring or disrespectful, but enough is enough, and this whole thing needs to come out, and it needs to be wrapped up so that my life and my divine mission can be saved, and he is certainly doing absolutely nothing to protect it or right his wrongs, which is really sad to me. I pray for him like every day that he will come correct and have mercy for his judgment, and I've given them lots and lots and lots of chances and lots and lots and lots of years. And finally, when, what I didn't want to believe, I had no choice but to not believe, became very fully apparent, then, sorry, bear with me, I'm being attacked by Beelzebub himself, by the ugliest, gnarliest spirit of religion, spirit of pederasses. My dad liked to hang out with pederasses. He's cool with them. But if you walk the walk and you talk the talk and you play the game, then you're cool, right? Nope. Sorry, that's not how it works. Dad, I pray for mercy for your judgment, but it's only going to happen if you come correct. And coming correct doesn't, this is the case where it's the thought that counts, doesn't count. You actually have to recompense your wrongs. You actually have to right your wrongs. You actually have to take action to do the right thing. You actually have to recompense what you have stolen. So anyways, back to that. We're enjoying a well-deserved boost of self-esteem. No, I was actually very, very abused, and it continues. And leadership in an organization or group, well, like I've said in other videos, I had a day and a half neuropsych appointment, and that was basically the consensus of it, is that I had executive skills and qualities, and I should be a CEO. But instead, anytime that I started to be in leadership, these men were intimidated, basically, by my strong personality and skill set. And the fact that, and I'm not trying to be like, just boast of myself, but I'm kind of fucking awesome. Sorry, I just am and always have been. So, and what's really sad is that I did things for my dad. Of course, I talk about this in other videos, but I got sicker on a missionary trip that he forced me to go on to, and he won't do a single thing to protect my life or help me get the treatment to get rid of the shingles on the top of my head. Also, I was signed off into military experiment. Sorry, I shouldn't bring the military into it. It was done through the military, but by nefarious people. So yeah, he basically signed me off, to be a guinea pig lab rat. So anyways, my leadership has been stripped from me. My life destiny has been stripped from me. And this is by a man that's preached the parable of the talents, preached all of this stuff his whole life. But when it came to his oldest daughter, he sadly, and his initials are MK, but he sadly has to actually, he can't actually follow what he's preached for so many years. And, it's sad because these people are mind screwed. And so I think partially they don't know what they're doing. And I feel bad for them because they don't know what they're doing. And in other aspects, I know that they know what they're doing, and they are even trying to force themselves to believe certain things to justify their own, wrong actions against me. Um, you know, I don't know. I did talk to like a therapist for a while, but that's because I was going for SSDI, and she actually has a sister that actually has this disease, and she actually validated the where that it's actually a real thing and not the cover up of it. And you know, he was on when I was on the right track when I and I haven't actually, this is my own stories. I actually have not looked into like stories of other people that are victims of narcissistic abuse. I want to be sure to get my story out before I do look into any of that, so I can't be accused of like making things up and fabricating it or whatever. But when I started to bring these things up, it was validated. And the other thing is that therapy didn't like actually help me in any way whatsoever. It was no treatment for me. It was really just to basically document that I didn't have the mental illnesses. Of course, they've got to do what they've got to do in regards to Big Farm's wishes and, the DSM-5, which has been proven on Wikipedia. And the true story of it is that they stole the work of L. Ron Hubbard, the son of the founder of the Church of Scientology, and it was revised by the military and special interests. And in that aspect, I put nefarious people involved in the military, or I should say maybe a nefarious dispensation of the military, post Eisenhower, post Watergate funding sort of stuff. So anyways, I got the 8 of Winds after that come up, and then the King of Winds in reverse, which I think plays more into basically the screwed situation that I've put in that I don't deserve. And it's really concerning targeting. But the fact that they have surveilled me for so long has only just done nothing but prove themselves wrong. And so at this point, they have to, fabricate things and check and hack and chop and paste together stuff, and that certainly will backfire on them. And it's certainly for those that have illegally surveilled me to try to set me up or defame me further to justify their initial defamation and their liabilities. This is only going to be a snare that they trip over themselves. It's only going to be a trap that they get caught up in. It's only going to be a pitfall that they fall into. Because, none of us are perfect. Like I said, I barely ever for a few bad weeks done drugs here and there. But I knew better, and I hated it, and I hated the scene, and it never worked. Like if it was like pure or something and it wasn't illegal and there wasn't so much bullshit, and it helped me, I would perhaps, consider like treating myself medically, concerning the fact that I have so much illness that I, at one point was on a dozen medications, 3 of them being narcotics, I never needed anti-anxiety pills, even though that was one of the medical misdiagnoses early on from Community Health Center here. The only time I ever needed anti-anxiety pills was when I was taking the Ritalin. And by the way, I had never had any focus issues. I was in the 99th percentile. I set the curve. I was at the top of the class growing up. So I don't have ADD. It's acquired due to the, neglected treatment of neglected tropical diseases and fungal infections that is part of liability that they have created and why they won't acknowledge it. Show that quite literally even show up in my brain scans. And then I went and saw a neurologist. It's really sad because I didn't get to see my grandma, and my grandma picked me to sit next to her during her 90th birthday. And wouldn't doubt it if she left me a house. Just basically, my grandparents saw how I was treated, and they saw who I really am. Is even though my dad has tried to talk to my Gma and other relatives and paint a false picture about me, anyways, I didn't get to see her for the last time because of this stupid neurologist appointment up in Kalispell, where basically I brought the documentation. I mean, we invest so many years into this and we find some answers just to get these doctors to try to, again, paint a false picture, defame us, paint us out to be something that we're not, and we have to start over at preschool level when it takes 3 times longer to get anywhere at the medical industry, and it took me 15 years to even get anywhere in the first place. Are you kidding me right now? Wow. It needs to be shut down and rebuilt in a proper way. You know, if they could do the right thing, that might not be the case, but they can't. They can't seem to do the right thing or tell the truth to save their freaking lives, acknowledge any of these labs. Taxpayers, they are wasting so much of your money. Sick people go and they get labs that validate things that are actually wrong with them, and this industry could get people better, but they choose not to. Instead, they choose to lie. Instead, they choose to, like, you know, make up these mental illnesses, which, by the way, are not diseases. Diseases can be proven under a microscope. Major depressive disorder cannot. Well, I mean, it could if I were to actually acknowledge what's behind it, being microbial infections, microbial colonizations. Everyone's got microbes in their body. But when you've got them built on things, and they colonize and they get in the way of your central nervous system and other, you know, very important regulatory functions of your body. And they can see it on their scans and stuff, but they still lie about it. So anyways, I didn't get to see my grandma for the last time because I waited a long time to see this, you know, specialist, this really good neurologist up in Kalispell. Well, they didn't even give me a real neurologist. They gave me a student. And then basically when I asked her about the Curie 1 in the back of my neck, or base of my space here, and I was taking a ton of gabapentin at the time, which actually works in that part of the brain. But also, as I read in one of my biotoxin labs, when it comes to like shellfish poisoning and like microbes and parasites and whatnot that come from the sea, basically gabapentin treats that, you know. So the fact that it works in here and it treats it, well, there you go. Come on. But anyways, so I go to see this, you know, good neurologist, specialist, blah, 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 blah. It took me 15 damn years to get to. And when I asked her about the Curie 1, she said, oh, that's just how your brain was made. You were born that way. And I said, well, why was it not like that in the head scan 5 years before? Appointment over. Didn't get to see my grandma for the last time. Kalispell neurology, because you guys can't tell the truth about anyone's conditions ever. No, it's time to treat the root causes of illness instead of throwing us your stupid commercials, trying to tell us we have major depressive disorder when we don't. When we have neglected tropical disease, when we have Lyme disease co-infections, when we have family abuse. But you want us to take responsibility for everything so that all liabilities from everyone can be covered up and denied, and our worlds can never get any better. In fact, it can only get worse, and you can sell pills. Are you kidding me? By the way, just so you know, a little fact, the majority of people that die from, and a lot of times they're teenagers, which is really sad. They'll put these teenagers on antidepressants and they'll go drink one night and they'll end up dead. But the majority of people that die from like combination substance related deaths are on antidepressants, Celexa being like one of the main ones. A little fact there. There's like all these people that do research, and there's a whole database, the National Institute of Health's database. It's all a waste. It is all a complete waste because these doctors refuse to even treat people's root causes of illness. They absolutely refuse to treat root causes of illness, tell people what things really are. Don't throw me your stupid psoriasis commercials, because every time I do, I say, oh, you mean you got strongyloids? Oh, you people don't even know what it's like. No, don't try to downplay and gaslight me concerning the fact that I've got a shingles-like, extremely horrific, extremely painful, extremely life-destructive sort of a thing that's been going on in my head for over 6 years. That's way worse than frickin' psoriasis, by the way. And I am not going to let you just treat my little psoriasis symptoms and call it that when it's actually a neglected tropical disease, strongyloid infection. coming out of the top of my head. No, I deserve to have the root cause of my illness treated from the inside so that I can get better and reclaim my life I've lost, especially the last 2 decades of my life that I have lost to medical mismanagement, medical misdiagnosis, medical neglect, medical defamation. We deserve to have the root causes of illness treated. We pass them on to our children in our womb, and they pass them on to their children in the womb. And by each generation, it's like that exponential tree graph. Millions and millions and millions and millions more are chronically ill. And of course, Big Farm loves it because they love their yachts more than they love your life. So anyways, Ada wins. Yeah, I'm pissed. Anybody would be. Doesn't mean I got a mental disease. That's not a disease because it can't even be medically proven under a microscope. Sorry. You lose. Your lies lose. Your cover-ups lose. It's not serving anyone. It is not helping anyone. Hacking my device and committing federal crimes against me concerning all this, the whole lot of you that are behind it, ain't serving nobody. And it ain't gonna work. And you're not gonna get away with it. You're not gonna get away with what you've been trying. It's evil, it's nefarious, it's disgusting, and it's all that's wrong with the world, the way people act. Call themselves professionals. Are you kidding me? Sorry, I've got way too much documentation for any of your BS to stick. And they've been watching me way too long and seeing that I am not what you guys want to make me out to be. Whew, Ada wins. Girl in prison, stuck in a tower, isolated, made poor, extradited. There's another word I'm looking for there that's similar to that, but I can't think of it. Basically censored, had tape put over her mouth. Why? Because we're against a better tomorrow? Is that why? Is that why you guys come against me and try to destroy me? I've tolerated this a long time. I am not being dishonorable or disrespectful at all. My dad wants to believe that I'm dishonoring him by telling the truth. He never protected me from his weird friends that stuck their dicks in my mouth. And he won't even admit it. And I'm just supposed to and then he's like, oh, let go of it. You're just letting it affect you. No, your present freaking behavior towards me only validated by that worse stuff that happened back then. Getting your little gangster friends to mess me up. Almost had me killed on a welfare check. Good stuff, right? When I wasn't even suicidal. Wasn't even going to hurt anyone. But he wanted to believe that. Or he wanted to make that up and make everyone else believe it. Because that's how narcissistic people act. And it's really messed up. And, this is a fact. He called my previous doctor to tell her I was suicidal. When she's the one that had been meeting with me in a health regard twice a month. And I was seeing 6 other specialists in addition. And they all knew I was fighting hard for my life. Especially with all that I have going on with my body. And not getting the help or treatment I need from the medical industry. Having to do it all myself. And I was able to do it all myself when I had secure housing. But then unfortunately, they put somebody under me. That's gross. Couldn't tolerate that. Had to move, literally, to save my own life. But it was good for me because I got away from the family. But then in the meantime, and you know what, I told other people at other jobs that, they made me their doormat. They made me their personal slave. They benefited off of my work, but then they try to, make me out to be someone that's incompetent. I just observed it. Like I said, some members are worse than the others. The little sister, it's sad, it's interesting because I observed the same behavior by the girlfriend of this so-called investor. What? Yeah, I guess I have to continue this, but I did observe it. Basically, they're trying to, make me out to be like incompetent. And, my family would do stuff like, buy my daughter clothes when she didn't need them, just to basically make me look incompetent and make them look like they care, and like, it's a long story, so I guess I got to continue it. Being thwarted, what do you know? No, the truth will come out. The truth will come out. Legal nefarious activity will be discovered. This whole thing will be connected, and my life will be saved and spared, and my destiny will continue to be a thing. It will happen. You can't stop it, You can't stop it no matter what you want to make me into. Anyways, the Eight of Wands. Woman sits with her arms bound and tied in a forbidding prison cell. The forlorn figure may be unaware that the key to escape her confinement rests in the keyhole of the door right in front of her. The solid wooden floor under her feet symbolizes a foundation and source of spiritual nourishment that should not be ignored or taken for granted. This card calls attention to the need to overcome fear and persevere in dealing with the sense of entrapment and paralysis that can accompany a difficult or challenging situation. I was a lot healthier when I got away from them. I was healthy and I did well, and of course, that had to be messed with. And now I'm back here. But like when I went and I knew it was happening and I see it right before my eyes, and try to put my child in the position that they had me in. Because narcissistic family dynamics, they've got to have somebody to, use, abuse, slave out, dump on, take advantage of. And that's just kind of how it works. But no, they're helping her because her mom's such a loser. Wow. This whole town has lied about me for far long enough. They've spread lies and rumors about me that aren't true. I'm actually a freaking rock star. That childcare down there wouldn't be if it weren't for me. And I was actually the one with the actual creativity and the actual skill. If I had that store up there, oh, it'd be jamming because I know how to market stuff, Hi. Hi, Betty. All right, I guess I have to finish my video later. Video killed the radio star. The eights of the minor arcana have much to do with action, movement, and the direction and application of energy as the journey through each suit nears the finish and completion of its cycle. Wouldn't that be nice? Resolution can only be achieved through determination, a need for action or taking responsibility, immobility from a feeling of powerless and victimization. Geez, all I gotta have is like one little safe place to go to start. I get there, I invest a lot into it, and then I get thrown out for being awesome. Story of my life.